A new fight video just dropped, and it's already got the internet in a chokehold. People are saying it shows Drake's people clashing with Kendrick Lamar's crew, and it all went down right after Kendrick came straight into Drake's city and shook the whole block. Yep, Kendrick performed Not Like Us in the heart of Toronto, and now the whole city's buzzing with tension. They like us. They like us. They not like us. Fans are running wild, taking sides like it's a street draft. And this beef, it just got personal. So here's the scene. Imagine you're the certified king of your hood. Every block chants your name. Every corner store blasting your hits. You got the whole city behind you, no question. But then your biggest rival, your top enemy, he strolls right up into your turf and performs a diss track aimed directly at you, in front of your people. That's not just bold. That's straight up disrespect. That's exactly what Kendrick did in Toronto. He stepped into the six and delivered a savage, cutthroat performance that had jaws dropping. June 12, 2025. Rogers Center, Kendrick Lamar, lit the stage up in the same arena where Drake's never even headlined a full solo tour.
To watch Kendrick Lamar?
No.
Absolutely no.
Absolutely no. We just
Why?
came to see like Drake's fan over here. Yeah.
OVO for
Let that sink in for a second. Kendrick performed in a spot the so-called King of Toronto never even claimed. This wasn't just rap beef. This was a full-blown power move. This wasn't just stepping into enemy turf. This was straight up taking over a block the so-called owner never even touched. Kendrick didn't just perform. He claimed real estate Drake never dared to. That's not rap beef, that's tactical warfare. But wait, it gets wilder. The crowd, they went off. Right after Kendrick performed Not Like Us, the whole stadium erupted into a standing ovation, a full 2 minutes of love. And in case anyone forgot, that's the same track that basically shredded Drake's entire image. But let's be real. This wasn't some awkward clapping from tourists. Nah, these were real Toronto locals. Drake's supposed day ones, his loyal fan base. And they were going nuts over a diss track aimed straight at their hometown icon. Picture that. Your own people turning up for your rival, singing word for word while he calls you out on your own soil. You gotta respect the level of talent it takes to stroll into someone's city and have their crowd chant your bars that tear down their hero. That's not just skill, that's domination. Social media blew up immediately. Fans who were there posted clips in pure disbelief, saying the crowd was begging Kendrick for an encore of a track that buries Drake. This wasn't just a show, this was a lyrical execution, and the city was cheering for the one holding the mic. Then things got heated. Footage started popping up online, showing what looked like a scuffle that spiraled into a full-on brawl. Fans say it was Drake's people clashing with Kendrick's camp. And if true, that takes this beef to a whole new level. But before we dive into that footage, let's hit rewind. This feud? It's been simmering since 2013, when Kendrick dropped that infamous verse on Big Sean's Control, calling out Drake by name along with a bunch of other top rappers. Kendrick called it friendly competition. But let's keep it real. That was a straight-up challenge to every rapper in the game to level up or get left behind. This wasn't some quick back and forth either. This was deep-rooted, decade-long tension finally blowing up like a ticking time bomb.
I'm thinking about the event that happened over there. Let me tell you something. When the first dude stepped up to Rose, the little short fat one that looked like Bam Bam Bigelow from wrestling, when he stepped up.
The real turning point came in 2024. Kendrick jumped on Future and Metro Boomins like that and basically told the whole industry, forget a big three. It's just Big Him. That line hit the culture like a freight train. He wasn't throwing playful jabs anymore. He flat out told Drake and J. Cole to keep that friendship bracelet energy to themselves, 'cause Kendrick was coming for the throne alone. What followed was a savage streak of diss tracks, one after the other, and Kendrick's Not Like Us was the deadliest one yet. He didn't just come for Drake's bars, he went after his character. That track didn't pull punches. It was a lyrical missile loaded with heavy accusations. Then came the night that shook the game. Kendrick performed that very track in the heart of Toronto. Thousands of fans showed up, some in OVO gear, some probably with Drake tattoos, and they were screaming the lyrics to a diss track aimed at their own hometown hero like it was a national anthem. People showed up expecting maybe a few Drake shots. But Kendrick brought a lyrical war. And the wildest part? You could spot die-hard Drake supporters in the crowd, wearing his merch, repping his brand, and still vibing with Kendrick after one of the coldest character takedowns hip-hop's ever seen. This wasn't just a diss. This was a shift in the culture, and the fans knew it. One person on social media nailed it. The crowd wasn't just staying quiet, they were singing along and begging for an encore, in a stadium Drake himself has never even performed in. Another fan called it out for what it was, a stadium packed with Torontonians yelling the diss track like their lives depended on it. They called it CRAZY, and they weren't lying. This wasn't just a concert anymore. This was a front row seat to a full-blown cultural shift, playing out live with every lyric. But here's the twist. This whole moment, it was built up like a master-planned heist. Kendrick had this mapped out like a genius thief pulling off the perfect score. Let's not forget, it all kicked off at Super Bowl 59 on February 9th, 2025, when Kendrick performed Not Like Us at halftime.
And then I squat down in his eyes and told him what I said. Basically, boy, if I hit you, I'm gonna see everything you ate for the last 2 days. His balls dropped out of his. He never said another word.
That performance turned the diss into a global anthem. It wasn't just a rap beef anymore. It became a movement, a bold message that echoed way beyond hip-hop circles. What made Kendrick's Toronto takeover so deadly wasn't just the guts to pull it off. It was the strategy, the timing, the stage, the psychological warfare. He didn't just show up in Drake's city, he did it in the exact venue that symbolized what Drake never accomplished. And he didn't just rap, he had thousands of Drake's own fans shouting every word back at him like it was gospel on a Sunday morning. Security was deep, with extra cops surrounding the Rogers Center. But through all the tension and energy, the crowd stayed calm, peaceful, like they knew they were watching history go down. So if the Toronto crowd stayed cool, where did that viral fight footage even come from? Well, fans got one thing right. The people in that clip were Drake's affiliates. But here's the plot twist. They weren't throwing hands with Kendrick's crew. Nah, they were going at it with someone nobody saw coming. It all popped off on June 30th, 2024, at the Ignite Music Festival in Vancouver, Canada. And what happened that night had the whole hip-hop world shook. Rick Ross, yeah, that Rick Ross, got jumped by Drake supporters after he played Not Like Us during his set. And this wasn't some random fight between tipsy fans. This was planned, targeted, and loud with a message. Loyalty to Drake in Canada runs deep. Let's break this night down, because it sounds like a scene straight out of a street drama. Rick Ross, a heavyweight in this rap game, someone who survived all types of beef, drama, and smoke, decided to throw his full support behind Kendrick in this war. That move? It sparked chaos. It all really started on April 13th, 2024, when Ross dropped Champagne Moments, a diss track aimed at Drake. He accused him of getting work done on his face and questioned his place in the culture. It was Ross clapping back after Drake came for him on push-ups. But Ross didn't stop there. He doubled down. And in one of the boldest, most disrespectful moves we've seen in a minute, he wrapped up his Vancouver show by blasting Kendrick's Not Like Us through the speakers. That moment, it lit the match. And the second that beat dropped, all hell broke loose. Let this sink in for a second. Ross was deep in Canada, Drake's backyard, performing in front of a crowd likely packed with hardcore Drake loyalists. And he chose to end his set with Not Like Us, the most brutal Drake diss track out there. That's like grabbing a mic in someone's block and talking wild about their mom, on full blast. The moment that track dropped, chaos followed. Video footage shows someone straight up punching Ross in the face, and then it popped off. A full-on brawl between Ross's crew and some fired-up festival goers. But here's the real deal. That fight? It wasn't random. Social media caught it all. One person even posted that it started when someone screamed, "Turn that off!" "Wanna bang out?" Right as the beat dropped. That wasn't just heat of the moment energy. That was musical loyalty turning into real street pressure. But Ross? He didn't fold. He showed why he's still standing strong in this game after all these years. Instead of fueling the flames or playing the victim, he flipped the script. He told TMZ nobody on his team took serious damage and called Vancouver a beautiful city he'd love to visit again. That's psychological chess right there.
I got hit with a drink. I'm still convinced ain't no punch me. Somebody said, Rose tried to punch you, he hit you. I say, nah. He had to throw a drink, because throwing a drink would have been way more disrespectful than screaming, "Hello, MMA!"
Ross basically brushed off the whole fight like it wasn't even worth his attention, sending a message that Drake's camp didn't faze him one bit. And then, Ross doubled down again. In a later interview, he broke down exactly what went down that night. And he did it with the kind of calm confidence that made it clear he definitely wasn't rattled. The level of disrespect Ross served that night? Legendary. He didn't flinch, didn't fold. He made it clear he wasn't even slightly rattled. If anything, he looked amused. The way he talked about the attackers? Like they were clowns, not real threats. This wasn't about who threw hands. This was about who controlled the narrative. Ross kept his cool, stood tall, and flexed that boss energy like nothing happened. And the way he played it? Pure trolling mastery. He told the press it wasn't even a punch, said they hit him with a drink. That wasn't just downplaying the hit. That was straight up clowning them. He turned a potential L into a flex, like, "Y'all tried and still couldn't shake me." He wasn't scrambling to save face. He was running a victory lap. Made them look soft while making himself look untouchable. That's veteran game right there. But what really sent shockwaves? That was just step one in how this beef spilled into real life. After the brawl, Drake hit the internet with a move that raised major eyebrows. He liked an IG post about the whole thing. And the post? It included a warning. Don't come to Canada if you got issues with Drake. Let that sink in. Drake didn't just sit back and sip tea. He co-signed it. One of the biggest artists in the world hitting like on a post tied to real violence? That wasn't passive. That looked like a green light to the streets. Now fans weren't just seeing rap beef, they were watching it turn real. And Drake's digital stamp? That changed the whole tone of the war. Then came the Instagram stories. Drake was seen laughing, posting Happy Canada Day, and fans instantly took it as him celebrating Ross getting jumped. The timing? Way too perfect to be a coincidence. This looked like Drake tipping his hat to the streets, showing love to fans who went all out defending his name through straight-up street justice. Social media exploded. Posts were flying around, showing how loyal Drake's fanbase really was, with people pointing out the crazy irony. Rick Ross, of all people, getting attacked in Canada. But this wasn't just about fists flying. The whole story turned into something bigger. It became about territory, pride, and how deep folks were willing to go to defend their favorite artist. This was about lines being drawn. Then other rappers started jumping in. 50 Cent? Of course, he couldn't resist. He clowned Ross, cracking jokes about his safety and making it all even more humiliating. That added a fresh layer of shade on top of the whole situation. What became clear real quick was that the hip-hop world was split. People were picking sides. And every post, every joke, every interview became a way to score hits off whoever they saw as the enemy. The energy was raw and very real. But maybe the wildest takeaway from all of this? It showed how powerful music can be in the real world. The attack on Ross wasn't just because of a grudge. It was triggered by his decision to publicly support Kendrick and end his show by blasting "Not Like Us" in Drake's home territory. At that point, this wasn't just rap beef. It was personal. It was about identity, about representing something people hold sacred. When fans feel like an artist is part of their DNA, not just music, but family, they ride hard. And when rivalries cross that line, it ain't just about charts anymore. It's real life. The streets, the industry, and the politics. All of it collided in one massive shakeup. The chaos in Vancouver and Kendrick's hostile takeover of Toronto weren't just wild headlines. They were the loudest signs of a deeper shift shaking the entire foundation of hip-hop. What we witnessed wasn't just two rappers throwing shots. This was bigger. This was a straight-up power shift. The lines between what's real and what's industry-made started getting exposed, and fast. Social media and streaming didn't just spread the beef. They turned it into a global spectacle with real-life consequences. The fallout? It hit everybody. Artists, execs, fans, critics. All of them were forced to sit with some uncomfortable truths about loyalty, violence, and what it really means to have influence in both the culture and the streets. One of the most eye-opening takes came from Whack 100. His breakdown of Kendrick's Grammy sweep hit different. He didn't just talk music. He peeled back the layers on the real dynamics happening behind the curtain. Kendrick's clean sweep at the Grammys, winning Record of the Year, Song of the Year, plus 3 more, wasn't just about fire lyrics or dope production. Nah, it was the industry picking a side. The powers behind the scenes made it loud and clear. This was who they were backing in the war. It wasn't just Kendrick catching W's. It was a message, a declaration of who really held the crown, not just in music, but in culture. Whack 100's take hit different. He saw what a lot of people missed. Drake's lawsuits against Universal Music Group were backfiring harder than a busted engine. Instead of making Kendrick look shady, those legal moves just made Drake look shook, like he was grasping at straws while Kendrick kept stacking wins. Drake tried to come at UMG, claiming they inflated "not like us" streams and pushed false narratives. But the streets didn't buy it. Instead of defending his name, he ended up drawing even more attention to Kendrick's dominance. And that made him look desperate. The industry politics? Getting way too obvious. Universal, the label repping both artists, wasn't even hiding it anymore. With every delay on Drake's drops and every push behind Kendrick's rise, it was clear who they saw as the real MVP. And then there was that viral moment, Dr. Dre giving a UMG exec a high five. Whack 100 called it what it was, a power move. That handshake wasn't just business, it was symbolic. The OGs, the West Coast pioneers, the architects of this culture, they were backing Kendrick loud and clear. And to them, Drake's legal tantrums looked like weak sauce. What we were seeing wasn't just beef, it was psychological warfare on another level. Drake was trying to fight with court papers and Instagram stories, but every move he made got flipped back on him. He'd swing and end up boosting Kendrick even more. It was like watching someone stuck in quicksand. The harder he fought, the deeper he sank. Every step, every statement, every lawsuit only made Kendrick look stronger, while Drake's grip on the crown started slipping fast. That prediction? Spot on. More accurate than GPS in downtown Manhattan. Kendrick's momentum didn't just hold, it exploded. Month after month, he was moving like a freight train with no brakes, stacking Grammy wins, shutting down the Super Bowl, announcing massive tour dates. Every move built on the last, creating a cultural takeover that felt unbeatable. But maybe the wildest part of this whole saga? It showed just how different artists move when the pressure hits on a street level. DJ Academics, who's been riding shotgun in this beef since day one, dropped some real insight into Kendrick's playbook. And it was cold. Kendrick calling out Academics in his track 616 in LA? That was more than a diss. It was a tactical strike. A move so calculated it could have come out of a military handbook. He didn't rant or drag Academics directly. Instead, Kendrick kept it smooth and surgical, pointing out that Academics looked compromised from the jump due to his bias toward Drake. No yelling, no drama, just facts, cold delivery. And the effect? Devastating. That one line did what hours of debates couldn't. It neutralized one of Drake's loudest supporters. Now every time Academics speaks on the beef, the streets are side-eyeing it like, Yeah, we know who you ride with. It was psychological warfare at its finest, and Kendrick played it like a pro. No wasted energy, no extra noise, just precision. And when even Academics himself had to admit it hit hard, that spoke volumes. Kendrick didn't just silence the noise, he controlled the whole frequency. Every time Academics tried to step up for Drake or throw shade at Kendrick after that call-out, fans weren't having it. The comments were flooded with reminders of Kendrick's compromised line, flipping the script on Academics and undermining every word he said. Just like that, one of Drake's loudest online voices got muted by the culture. This move? Genius level, no exaggeration. Kendrick wasn't just battling Drake on wax. He was dismantling the entire system around him. He was picking off Drake's allies one by one, shutting down the platforms that used to hype him up, and leaving him looking isolated in a game he once dominated. This wasn't rap beef. This was straight-up tactical warfare. Kendrick came with the mentality of a street general and the strategy of a top-tier chess player. Even Academics, who had doubted Kendrick's commercial pull and online power, had to admit how effective the man's approach really was. This battle wasn't just about hot verses or catchy hooks. It was about knowing how to move through the machine. Kendrick played with media control, fan perception, and mind games like a pro, flipping everything to his favor without even raising his voice. And the impact? Massive. This wasn't just about two artists anymore. The beef forced the whole hip-hop world to take sides. Some rocked with Drake, others rode with Kendrick. And a few couldn't handle the smoke at all. Birdman and 50 Cent stood behind Drake. Meanwhile, Metro Boomin, Kanye West, and Rick Ross threw their weight behind Kendrick. The lines were drawn, and every cosign told a deeper story about loyalty, legacy, and what really matters in this culture. Meanwhile, others like J. Cole jumped in early, but later backed out and apologized, realizing the fire was way too hot to stand near. And legends like Ice Cube and Stevie Wonder, they spoke up too, not to pick sides, but to call out how wild the feud got, saying it was pulling attention away from way bigger issues around the world. But let's be real, what we've witnessed over the past year wasn't just a rap beef. It was a full-blown chess match of strategy, psychological warfare, cultural power moves, and pure lyrical excellence. This whole saga has shifted the landscape of hip-hop and will be talked about for years to come. And if WAC 100's prediction holds any truth, then this war is far from over. And the streets? Yeah, they're still watching. If you rocked with this breakdown, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and drop a comment letting us know where you stand in this historic clash. Share this with your people too, and don't miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.